Let's move right on into the main card. We start off with Diego Ferreira submitting Anthony Pettis via rear naked choke, 146 into round 2. I did not see this coming, and you guys didn't either, I don't think. Blake, initial thoughts from this fight?
Yeah, I thought Diego came out and looked really, really good the whole fight. He proved to me that he's ready for that next step in competition, that he's ready to start challenging some of the top people in the world. And Anthony's been at the top. I don't think he's the same championship fighter that he was back in the day. It seems like he's possibly lost a little bit of that tenacity, maybe a little bit of that, maybe desire to totally go in there and really leave it all out there. It just, I don't know, man. It seems like he's just found ways to get out of there pretty often lately.
Is Anthony fading right now? Are you watching his career come to an end?
I think it's coming to a crossroads. If not, like, either he's gonna have to switch promotions or start winning.
Anthony Pettis to Bellator.
His brother just went there.
No shit.
So,
yeah, his brother just went to Bellator about middle of last year, I think.
Damn. Okay.
So I mean, and you know how close they are, but he's still a huge name, so you never know. But I mean, back to Diego. I mean, the guy just, you can tell on the ground that guy is next level. That guy. I mean, you do not want to be on the ground. He's a shark.
No, he without doubt outclassed Anthony Pettis with ground game.
And Anthony Pettis is no slouch on the ground.
No, he's not.
He's no
at all.
flip jiu-jitsu.
But Diego made Pettis look like a bum with no ground game last night. It was crazy. I was not expecting him to look that bad.
And that's that's the reason why Diego was so excited for this fight too, is because he knew that Anthony was well respected for his jiu-jitsu, and he wanted to go out there and he wanted to submit him, and he went out there and he submitted him.
Yeah,
in great fashion.
Yeah, Blake, we were talking about this after the fight. Diego was unranked going to this matchup. Anthony Pettis was at 11. We're kind of debating, but you think, kind of came to the consensus that Pettis or Diego is likely to replace Pettis at the 11th rank, or do you think there's any chance that he breaks into the top 10?
I don't think he breaks into the top 10 yet. No, I think he'll definitely be at 11 or 12.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I think he has the right to be fighting now, number 10 or number 8.
I think his next fight should be a top 10 matchup. He deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at the current rankings and see like who's already got a match going on planned. But like, I know like someone off the top of my head that I'd name is that Charles Oliveira guy.
Yeah,
that I think would be a sweet fight.
Definitely.
But that could probably be like the third fight on the pay-per-view or something like that.
Charles Du Bronx Oliveira. I think he has a fight coming up though. I can't remember who he's fighting, but I know he's fighting soon. I want to say it's Kevin Lee.
That's right. Kevin
Lee, which is a banger.
It's going. Did that make that's on pay-per-view, right?
I can look.
I believe that's a fight night.
Yeah. But thought it's really good grappling skills. It was a showcase for Diego in this against a high caliber former UFC champion, and it adds a big name under his belt that Diego could add to his resume, saying that he submitted Anthony Pettis and he beat him pretty convincingly as well. It wasn't just a fluke, I don't think.
Very, very, very impressive win. And just to finish that prior. The Kevin Lee versus Charles Oliveira fight is on March 14th, and it is a fight night 170. It's the main event.
Thank you. Yeah, it's either going to be a high up on the main card for a pay-per-view, or it's going to be the main event of a fight night. That's going to be a banger of a show.
Yeah. So I don't know what's next for him, but he definitely deserves a top-ranked opponent. Definitely top 10.
What's next for Anthony? Where does he go from here?
That's a good question, because what's interesting is he's another case of a fighter that is caught between 3 weight classes, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
He can't go back to 45 again, obviously, so that's kind of out of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
But 55, he's up and down, and 70, he's up and down. He's had very impressive wins at both divisions. He's been a champion at 55. Or was it 45 that he was a champion at? No, it was 55. And at 70, he's had extremely impressive wins over, or at least one win over Wonder Boy. So I think he still has a place in the UFC, at least one more chance. But the leash is definitely short now. He has to have, an impressive performance, and he has to ask himself, like, what do I want from my career? At this point, do I want to continue trying to be a champion, or do I just kind of want to go the Frankie Edgar path, kind of, and just accept or the cowboy path, really, and just accept, like, I'm not gonna be a champion again, but I want to fight for as much money as I possibly can.
I think we could agree that Pettis has come to a crossroads in his career right now, and there's a couple big decisions that he's going to have to make for himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, moving on to the next fight, we had Brian Kelleher submit Osbourne via guillotine, 245 into just round 1. Jalen, let me get your thoughts on this one and start things off.
Yeah, it was kind of like Ode is kind of like a fan favorite. He's a school teacher from Jamaica, struggled, got into the fight game. So, everyone loves him. Man. Jamaican Sensation. That's a great nickname.
He has a great personality. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's like a great dude. It was a good fight. I think it was a good fight. I think he ended up getting caught, and that guillotine. He ended up having to tap with his foot, which I think is crazy.
Brian Kelleher had one of the weirdest transitions into a guillotine I think I've ever seen. How he had
it's kind of
OD in kind of like a squat, and then he was getting that guillotine in, but then he just kind of rolled onto his back and really cinched that thing in. It was impressive.
And he had
that was one hell of a transition.
He had Ode's arms kind of squeezed into himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that's the way he likes doing it. Kelleher said that's the way he prefers to do his guillotines, which is a rare one to see. A lot of people don't do it that way. We saw a couple of submissions that were kind of like more personally customized on this card, but that was definitely an interesting way for the fight to go. I was definitely kind of hoping for a longer fight, just so both of them could kind of show what they could do, because Brian has been out for a while coming off an injury, which he did show himself that he could do good, but it's like I don't think he got to showcase as much as would have helped his career a lot more. Mm-hmm. And Ode, it was his debut, great fighter, and he obviously also didn't get to showcase himself as much.
Yeah. Blake, what did you think, we had a little bit of conversation. What did you think about that transition that Kelleher hit to cinch in that guillotine? Or at least maybe just his grappling in general, because he got that in quick.
I thought it was necessary. I mean, he made the proper adjustments in that fight, because Ode looked like he for sure had the advantage on the feet. He looked faster. He looked like his striking was just a lot more dangerous. Kelleher is no slouch. He's fought some really tough opponents in his career. So I mean, the outcome of the fight doesn't surprise me. I don't think people were giving him enough credit, and I was surprised to see that Ode Osbourne favorite going into this fight. Because Ode Osbourne, as recent as last summer, in summer of 2019, he was fighting on Dana White's Contender Series. Mm-hmm. Kelleher has been in the UFC for a few years, so it didn't surprise me that he found an opening and attacked and executed.
Now, he going out with this fight, he's really going to start to be able to make a name for himself now. He kind of put himself on the map now, and there's a lot of fans that should be taking notice of his performances.
Well, he's at 135, so that's a deep division. We'll see what's next for him. He's going to have a step up in competition, that's for sure.
That's for damn
definitely, and he's going to have to avoid injury again, because he's had a lot of injury issues that have kept him out of being able to be in that top name kind of discussion.
Definitely.
Hey, best of luck to him then, because I don't want to see anyone get injured.
Definitely.
Third fight of the night was a nice heavyweight matchup. A little bit of change of pace between the first two. We had a couple of big boys going at it with Olynyk. He submitted Maurice Greene 438 into the round 2 via armbar, and they were trading submissions through this one. There's actually for a heavyweight fight, there was some really good ground game.
Definitely. It was kind of weird. I think that was one of the most tired second rounds I've ever seen. Both guys were kind of just leaning on each other and then throwing punches and then grabbing each other and then
well, it looked like Olynyk might have been exhausted from that first round because I think he had Maurice in a neck crank for like 2 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it was
he's going to submit him for a solid 2 minutes, squeezing as hard as he can. You know, in one of his favorite submissions that most people in this world are going to tap to. Maurice Greene was chilling. He was just punching him in the face,
right,
sitting there. But the guy's laying on top of him, so that's not resting at any point. So both those guys going into round 2 were going to be tired. We knew that. What was interesting is it was kind of a classical matchup: striker versus a submission artist, someone that wants to take it to the ground, someone that wants to grapple. Maurice was a little bit more effective in round 2 at staying at range and landing some decent shots, but ultimately he played right into Alexei Olynyk's game, let him clinch up, let him get to the ground somehow. And, I believe he tripped and threw him a couple times to get him to the ground, and at that point you could just tell he was out of his comfort zone. Olynyk is just on another level compared to Greene. And he was able to just kind of do as he wished there. Greene had some moments on the ground where he would be able to explode, and because he's just a physical specimen, he could get out of positions that are kind of bad for him and reverse them just out of sheer will and strength. But at a certain point, he's gonna tap out. He's gonna run out of gas. He's not gonna be able to escape these awful positions that Olynyk is putting him in constantly.
It was like one right after another. There
was no escape.
I think he had like 5 submission attempts in just the second round. You saw him try to go for his Patton and Ezekiel choke a couple times in that one. He almost got him.
Times.
Yeah.
And Olynyk, he's now in Olynyk is now in second place in UFC history for most submission wins by heavyweight. The only with 6. The only person that is ahead of him is Randy Couture with 8.
Wow.
And also, this was his 46th overall submission win in his career, which is a damn lot of submission
wins now.
Yeah, 58 wins and 70-something fights.
Yeah. Now he has 58 wins, 13 losses, and 1
no contest.
No contest. Thank you. Yeah, he definitely had as we spoke about, he definitely had the knowledge and the background and the experience factor going to this one, and he kind of showcased that. Even at 42, he's still a pretty good fighter. He honestly might be able to inch. He was at 11 going to this in the heavyweight. I wonder if there's a chance he makes it into the top 10 with this one.
No, there's absolutely no chance.
Put the old man up there. Do it.
I think at most he'll move up to 10 and then be moved out very quickly.
Feed him to Francis.
If he fights top level guys with not only just the top level athleticism but also top level technique and striking, he's gonna get KO'd. It's happened before.
Pope against Stipe.
Wow. Nope.
You're
not at all.
I want to see an old man die.
A mean human being.
That's elderly abuse.
I want to see Sasuke retired on pay-per-view. Give it to me, Dana. Just have it'd be like WWE. We can have a casket match. So when Stipe kills him, we just throw him into that. It's super easy and simple.
Yep, sounds fair enough.
Impressive though. Maurice Greene had a couple of triangle attempts. Those long ass legs of his 6'7" frame really helped almost sink those in. That last the last little bit of the fight, they were both fighting attempts, but Olynyk finally got into the position to put him in the armbar. He was probably in that for like 20 seconds before he tapped.
Yeah, he kind of had his leg blocking, so he couldn't get a full extension on the armbar. And I don't know why, but at a certain point, he kind of just moved his leg and let him get the armbar. I don't think he did it on purpose. I think he was going to try to explode, not realizing how tired he was. And then he kind of tried to explode out and then kind of just stayed there and got put into the armbar.
Yeah. It's still a good fight, though. I appreciate because a lot of times when people see heavyweights, they just want to see two big dudes slug it out and knock the fuck out of each other. But I really liked watching this change of pace, seemingly with a bunch of grappling, a lot of submission, defense, and offense, and it was a fun fight to me.
Definitely.
The co-main event of the evening was Holm against Raquel Pennington, a rematch of something that happened 5 years ago. Yeah, I think you really summed it up right there, Blake. I appreciate that.
Were you talking about
I'm sorry, were they fighting? No, because Holm won via unanimous decision with two judges scoring 30-27. One judge scored 29-28, which I did not understand. But I think for at least 10 minutes of this fight was just Holm holding Raquel against the cage and landing a shot every now and again.
It was so frustrating to watch that fight, man. I don't understand.
I know, especially with the lead up and all the talk and finishing the fight. They barely threw anything, and it's a smart, like, don't get me wrong, it's a smart game plan by Holly, and it worked. But it's Raquel Pennington. She has so many chances to let her hands go and try to get a finish in this fight, and she didn't. She had a whole bunch of positions where she could have just let go and just started throwing punches and try to land something. It just wasn't working, and then she just kind of gave up. Like, you could see it in her face. Like, she didn't, like, at the end of the fight, most fighters, even if they look like they got destroyed, they put their hands up talking about they won the fight. You know, they accept it later, but most fighters go into it, and at the end of the fight, they're like, okay, I think I have a chance to win this because I executed my game plan and I did what I wanted to do. I think there's a chance I could have won this. She, immediately after the fight, knew she did nothing. And I feel like if you can do that, that means you absolutely just shit the bed in this fight. And it was, in my opinion, not for Holly Holmes, it was good. That was her game plan. Proud of her. But all in all, I think this was a pretty shitty fight.
Yeah, I think even the hardcore fans, such as Blake himself, kind of irritated with this one.
The ref has to separate that, man. I can't believe that he let that happen.
Well, he separated them. He waited till the third, like with 2 minutes left to go, to separate them, and then they clinched back up again.
It had to be sooner, though. He needed to be more on top of that.
I heard Joe talking on commentary that, well, when we talked about Joe, he thinks that there should never be a breakup or a stand-up, which I disagree with, but I can see his point. And they're also speaking on that ref. I forget the name of the ref that was with that fight, but
I think it was Jason Herzog.
Thank you, Herzog. Yes, he has a track record of not breaking things up unless it gets really bad and really stale.
It was really bad last night.
Yeah, but you can't blame the ref for that one. If Holly Holm just
if neither
had
girl wants to fight,
I don't know. Holly Holm had the game plan and she executed it. It wasn't a good win, but a win's a win. And this puts her a little closer to the title.
She got away with it. She got away with fighting the most boring fight ever. So, I mean, if you want to give her props for that, then
most boring, she threw like 1 or 2 head kicks, man. You didn't like that?
Yeah. She threw a hook kick and a question mark kick.
Neither landed, but that's besides the point.
It was just, she threw a lot of oblique kicks also.
Oh, the oblique kicks are some of the most exciting moves in MMA.
I
don't know what you didn't like. Like, you don't like seeing people just hug against the cage?
You gotta, dude, you're fighting. Right? You're trying to hurt the other person.
Oh.
I think it was a pretty exciting fight.
You're getting paid how much thousands of dollars?
Man, where's that one gif of that? Where's that one gif of that UFC fan that has "just bleed" written on his chest?
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm saying where's the competitive energy? Where's the will to win? I mean, I saw it from neither girl last night.
No,
it looked like
to be honest, though,
wanted to hurt the other one.
No, it didn't.
I think I would put it up more on. I put it more on Raquel because I feel like Holly kind of put her there, and I think she was waiting to advance.
I think Raquel has
when Raquel kind of went for like a punch or try to get aggressive, and I think she was going to plan on taking her down. But I feel like Raquel was just okay with being in the clinch. And so Holly was like, okay, if you want to stay here, we can stay here.
Right.
And I feel like there was more to Holly's game plan that just didn't happen. Yeah, I'm not going to blame it on Holly.
If we want that to change, it was on Raquel Pennington to get out of the clinch and be able to get some separation. Holly Holm was just doing that because she could.
from the second on, most of the clinches were engaged by Raquel. She just kept getting reversed. It wasn't really Holly engaging in the clinch.
Well, I was really confused
Raquel
in that
would
third
go
round
into it,
because obviously Raquel needed to get the finish in the third round. She wanted to win, but she kept on herself was initiating clinches and going to the fence. I don't know.
Yeah, and then just holding it there. It wasn't like she was going for like punches.
It looked like Pennington accepted the fact that she was going to lose and just wanted to escape that fight with as little damage as possible.